Hi everyone, welcome to our Wellbeing Tip for today. I want to continue on with our theme of kindness, and I want to begin by telling you a story that I read some years ago, not long after I left school, and that story so impacted me, it stayed with me all of these years. And it relates to an Indian man by the name of Sadhu Sundar Singh. Isn't it great to have names that are rhyming? And he was a Hindu man, and he read the scriptures, and he became interested in Christianity to the point where he converted and became a Christian. And God so touched his heart and filled it with compassion that he wanted to share the message of God's love everywhere. So he became a missionary to Tibet and Nepal and would walk by foot, travelling through all the different villages. And he became very well known and much loved as he planted churches and ministered great kindness to many, many people over many years. In fact, he became internationally well known. He visited in his latter years the United States, Canada, US, Great Britain, and even Australia in 1920. In fact, one of the churches was so moved by his visit, they made a stained glass window in his honour. The story that stuck with me was one time Sundar was travelling through the snow with a companion along the Himalayas, and they heard a faint cry down in a valley below, and he looked down and he saw that a traveller had fallen down there and was injured and couldn't get out. And he said to his companion, "Let's go down and rescue this man." His companion said, "Sundar, we cannot go down. If we do not get to the next village very quickly, it's so cold, we ourselves will freeze to death." And that man just continued on and left Sundar by himself. So Sundar, being the compassionate man that he was, went down into the valley, picked this injured fellow traveller up, put him on his back, and wrapped him in a blanket that he had to cover the both of them as best he could, and with great strength and energy, or all the strength he could muster, trudged through the snow with this man on his back for a very long distance, for hours and hours, right through the night, until just about before the sun was to rise in the village they were arriving at. He actually tripped on something in the snow, and he looked down to see what it was, and it was actually his previous fellow companion had himself frozen to death. And of course, what had kept Sundar alive was his act of great kindness and compassion. It was his effort and energy of carrying this man, heated up his own body, and also the body warmth that was exchanged between the two when he was carrying him kept Sundar alive. And it's a story of what kindness can do for everybody. Obviously, it helps those that are in tremendous need, just like that man who had fallen down into the ditch. But also, there's a great metaphor and a great lesson in that story for us, in that there is always an exchange that takes place. In this instance, the exchange was that it changed and saved Sundar's life as well. Some years later, Sundar, I've written this down, Sundar was asked by one of his students this question: "Sundar, what is life's most difficult task?" Okay, so here's the question that he was asked some years later. "Sundar, what is life's most difficult task?" And I've written this down because I thought his answer was fascinating. He says, "Life's most difficult task is not to have a burden to carry." I thought, what? Well, we often think, we need to get rid of our burdens and things that weigh us down. But what he's saying is that sometimes our burdens can actually, in some ways, be good for us. Perhaps they are instilling in us a sense of perseverance. Perhaps they're instilling in us character. Perhaps they're preparing us for things that might occur in the future. And so a couple of thoughts for us this morning. When we choose to be kind to one another, very often an exchange takes place, and it's wonderful for our own heart and not just the person that we're ministering to. And sometimes when we are burdened by things, we can look at the bigger picture, and perhaps there is other things being instilled in us, like a depth of character or perseverance or something to prepare us for things in the future. One thing as I finish that I love about many of the local churches and our school at St. Philip's is the way people are so kind and caring for each other. I see it at the school here in all of the different year groups and amongst the staff. the beautiful acts of kindness. So I just want to cheer you on in that this morning. Keep caring for people the way that you do in the acts of kindness, and how mindful that we are for one another. And sometimes it doesn't always happen perfectly, but we can just try and cover the bases with each other. So today, as we close this morning, who might you be kind to today? And remember, if you're able to do an act of kindness, that there'll always be an exchange that takes place. So take those thoughts with you today. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you. Be kind to yourself and be kind to one another.